So here's some things that I can suggest to you. If you do decide, regardless of whether you're going to do telemarketing, you're going to do direct mail, you're going to do email marketing, stagger the releases. Stagger them, meaning, let's say you're going to take the top 1,000 potential prospects for your business in this market. There's no reason to be convinced that you should, or anybody to tell you send all 1,000 pieces out at a time. Doesn't make any sense. What if the messaging was wrong? What if all of a sudden people are wildly interested in you and they bring back responses? How do you effectively follow up on them? Look at your sales force, look at your sales pipeline, do it intelligently. Maybe 1,000 pieces should best be released 250 pieces at a release. See what comes in, then release the next 250 pieces. Maybe you'll find that you have a 2-week window where you can really effectively follow up on the 250 releases and the phone and the perhaps phone calling that's going to happen behind it. So you want to make sure that you do that. You want to do that because that's the only way to really make sure you maximize the messaging. Okay? So establish a game plan. What do I mean by that? In a lot of cases, what I found, here's an interesting one for you. True story. We ran a program, and it was for a whiteboard that you wrote on, and you pressed a button and it printed out. It was called a Panaboard. Now they're run by a number of different companies. And I was working with this guy in Panasonic for, I probably shouldn't say this, especially with the taping going on. So I've been working with him for about 10 years. He says, look, we got this brand new thing from Japan they told us we have to sell. I said, what is it? This is a great tool here, look at this. Writes on it, presses it out, it comes out on a piece of paper. I said, that is cool. That is cool, we could use that. You know, a lot of well, where would you think that would use? Well, I said, how about hotels? Hotels would use, large corporations. Data guys love writing on the board and everybody's taking notes. Now they don't have to take notes. So we put this campaign together, we send out this thing, and what did we offer? We offered whiteboard eraser and markers with Panasonic's name on them. That was the offer. If you're interested in giving us some information about yourself, here's a set of markers and an eraser for a whiteboard. So the only way that you can use this stuff, it's not like you can use it for coloring. The only way you could use it is if you have a whiteboard or you use a whiteboard or you know what a whiteboard is. Got a 31% response rate. Okay? Sent out a lot of those markers and everything. And we set up an inbound 800 number. I get a phone call, we get a phone call from Black & Decker. They tell us, we're interested in buying a bunch of these for our conference rooms. We're actually in discussions with somebody. We need 8. And I'm thinking, this is a home run. These things were very expensive at the time. I said, this is a home run. So I tell the operator who took the call, I said, listen, do not even say, I'm going to send this. I'm going to send this directly to the marketing guy. So I send it to him, and I send it off to the sales guy. It's about a week and a half passed. The guy from Black & Decker calls us again. No one's ever gotten back to me. It's a true story. No one's ever gotten back to me. I call the guy from marketing. I actually saw him for lunch that day. I said, listen, what's going on? He says, listen, I did my job. Marketing generates leads. Sales is supposed to close the leads. And I thought right then and there, there's something wrong with this picture, you know? But that was the mentality back then. So the bottom line is, establish a game plan. And why that's important is if you're going to be doing something and driving efforts and opportunity, you want to make sure that the appropriate people within the organization are going to be able to follow up on those opportunities generated. Make sure that that's in place. You want to capture all that information back to a CRM or sales automation system, or if you don't want to invest in that, use Outlook. You don't want to invest in that, use Excel. You know, just use a Word document where you keep that information and use it in some fashion that you're capturing information that allows you to go back to that audience later on. Monitor the ROI, right? I can't say that. I probably said that 10 or 12 times today. Monitor the ROI. And ROI, and depending on the companies you talk to, they say, hey, you got a great ROI, great return on your investment for the leads you generated. Well, it's not just the leads you generated. How many appointments did I generate? How many ultimately sales converted? That's the true ROI. Promotional things I can tell you about, other ways to promotion it. What's really valuable, very, very valuable, testimonials and case studies. They cost hardly nothing to do. You can put them in a personalized envelope. They can be meaningful. You can send them out to appropriate people, especially if you've got background on those folks and you know who may be interested in your product or service. They have a very, very high level impact with folks and are really valuable if you follow up on the telemarketing behind it, especially if you start a dialogue with folks and they want to hear from you. Another thing I can tell you that's been very valuable for my company was newsletters. And believe it or not, it doesn't have to be email-based. Sometimes some of the better accounts I got was from when I sent out a newsletter to them, and it was done through the mail. And it doesn't have to be very elaborate. And there's nothing wrong with chest thumping. If you've done something that's allowed you to promote yourself to businesses and to prospects, you should do it. Press releases, same type of thing. If you've done something that's been meaningful via email or via hard copy mail, those are very meaningful ways of getting your message out, telling yourself to the audience, and you will generate lead opportunities from that as a result. Low cost, not a lot of creativity, not a lot of cost in actually doing the distribution. Seminars and webinars, huge. If you have something relevant, you can bring people to a room. These are really qualified leads now. If you have something meaningful to convey to them and they're interested in the subject matter that you're talking about, there's a high probability that some of those folks will turn into customers.